Hey, yeah, it's Puueds, and my mom just gave me a laundry list of chores to do. The first one on the list says 53. 53 of what? Wait, hang on. I think my mom just wrote what to do in the second chore. The second one says stars. Okay, I think that just makes it more vague. We'll move on to the next one. The next one says 2. The next one says demons. And I think my mom just sent me a list in Geometry Dash. If you told me Geometry Dash would get a feature where you can make playlists like in Spotify about a few years ago, I would have said, honestly, I can kinda see it. Lists are pretty straightforward to explain. Here's one, you can look inside, there's some levels to beat, are rewarded in the end, and well, this is the story of someone dealing with a BMW driver.
Damn it.
Atomic Cannon Mark III. With the feature being about a year and a few months old, they are pretty integrated in the community culture and the game, but I don't hear a lot of people speak about it in the same way they might speak about gauntlets or map packs. Their inclusion does add a different way of checking out the game, whether that be reintroducing old levels to newer players and veterans, doing research on levels, or having fun with them. And it's something worth covering. We are going to explore lists in Geometry Dash and diving into the best ones, the most interesting ones, the ones that are just there, and the humor that all these lists just add. My mom's actual laundry list can wait, whatever that may be. So when you scroll across the top list tab, it's pretty standard. There are some where it's a collection of the creators' levels, such as World of Octane by the J Shadow, and it acts like a sort of progression map. It's cute going from the first level to the second and so on. Unrelatedly, I also wanted to point out that it is actually quite insane to see that J Shadow has every single type of rating in this list. You may recognize a few of these levels since they really did hit in popularity. This is also the same creator who made Fart Processing, and Fart Processing 2, and also Fart Processing 3. Another cool one is the Tower's Secret Ending by Colin, which is for this year's April Fools, and I highly recommend you either play these levels for yourself or watch his videos. I say either experience is great in their own way. If you decide to play it, it's an extremely refreshing playthrough of the Tower, and it really feels like you're uncovering things you shouldn't be. When put together as a list, it's almost comparable to the feeling of progressing in the main levels or in the tower itself. It's cute that each level name is a spoof of the actual level names just by adding an adjective. Thank God for the English language inventing adjectives. The Towerverse story by 16 Lord is in the same boat, and you get to learn more about not only the story he's trying to tell, but the history of making these levels. Lists act the same as levels before you play them, featuring a favorite option, likes, and a description. In the description, it's been in the making since 2019, but it was properly built in 2022, and is planned to finish by 2025. If that's to be the case, this is a series that will have the longest running and active story in Geometry Dash. Unless you count all the hacker stories. The Damascus collection, or really any you can find of it, is a list of all levels that each part in Damascus was based on. There's 72 levels, and it really adds to the further point of Damascus, that being a chaotic but accurate history of Geometry Dash's creators, levels, and styles from 1.9 to 2.1. The list feature comes really in clutch here by showing you all the levels that were used in this level in a very accessible way. Level series or compilations definitely needed a feature like this because it was pretty cumbersome before 2.2. So I'm glad RobTop added it, and it makes it easier to play people's levels in the intended order, especially for the series where each entry isn't the same name with an added number. While not an official series, you can take a look at all the unnamed levels that got rated. It's kinda weird there are this many levels with this naming scheme, and also some numbers are skipped. There are so many numbers that are just skipped in this series, like 2, 4, 8, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Guys, you know what to do. Speaking of series, have you seen those GD spin-off fan games? Not as in recreating the game itself, but making levels that follow RobTop's progression format along with more added features. If you haven't heard of them, there's Geometry Dash Luna, Geometry Dash Breeze, and Geometry Dash Odyssey. All of these are extremely sick, but personally I am not that bothered enough to go download it. So when the creators behind it go make a list in a vanilla game, it's really convenient and I really appreciate them doing it. I had a blast playing some of these levels as they feel right at home with being challenging and simple. These levels are uploaded by different creators since they make their own contribution to the fan game. Could you imagine trying to find these levels by yourself? Because I know I would have an aneurysm trying to. If you want to get technical, Rob's Vault or GD Colin ripped all of RobTop's levels and uploaded them into the servers. That's Stereo Madness to Dash, and even the spin-off games Sub-Zero, World, and Meltdown. If you're really lazy to download them like I am, you can just play them here. He also uploaded old or beta versions of Electrodynamics, Finger Dash, Press Start, Knock'em, Power Trip, and Secret Hollow, which is really neat to have history readily accessible like this. With the onslaught of Gauntlet contests recently, or contests in general, such as the Michael Creator Contest, the Sampling Contest, Contest 3, and the creator contest. It's high time we should talk about lists acting like gauntlets or compilations of level entries. With the recent Space Gauntlet and NCS Gauntlet, do you want another 10 levels to beat? It's a bit weird knowing these exist as they record the levels that place in the top 20. If anything, it's a good excuse to beat the levels outside of the gauntlets as you do get more rewards for it. You can also gawk at nearly every level having legendary or mythic in this. There's also been a push for fan-made gauntlets with Gauntlet by Bugpester, where the description is Gauntlet, and the levels are only related to the gauntlet names themselves like Firewall and the Fire Gauntlet. Can't believe there's already more than 30 gauntlets now. There's also a list of all gauntlet levels, just called Gauntlet Levels by LevLeb 2007, where you can play every gauntlet level. As redundant as it sounds, you can actually play other levels that are locked behind other levels that you couldn't beat, which technically, yeah, that's a benefit. If I couldn't beat Ocean Rush, I could just skip ahead to Calypso Blitz. By the way, have you been drinking every time I said gauntlet? Because, well, I did say it a lot.
Man, I'm feeling so hydrated with all this water.
I'm just going to start out by pointing out a few highlights I found, such as the Goog Gauntlet by Kupazu. What does Goog mean? The way this name was created was that it was just said by someone in the daily chat of Gone by Tuan Nash. The Prediction Gauntlet by Twisted Dude 161 is a prediction of... Honestly, I don't know, and I don't think anyone knows, and since it's been a while this was released, I am soon not even Twisted themselves know. The level Gauntlet by Yohansu 14 is a miracle. How are there 5 levels that actually go by the number or by different creators? And the Dancing Line Gauntlet by Sparse is his own series based on Dancing Line. Like, genuinely, I had a lot of fun playing these levels. Have you been keeping track? Because this is the count.
Wait, he said more?
Actually, I wanted to talk about Yohansu, who's still pumping out lists and recording some of the game's history. He has about 24 lists, which is way more than I expected for any creator. To put that into reference, I literally only have 0 on my account. Let's start with nice usernames, where the focus is on the creators' names rather than the levels, and you can see the creators' efforts of using their brain to specifically not use their brain when making their username. There are creators who are named LOL, Lamau, Poop, and username. There's also RobTop, and RobTop Games. You have a 1 in 4 chance to point out which one is the correct one. There's a level called Don't Give Up with the description of keep trying, not finished yet, so check for updates, and it's by God. Thank you, God. Another list is Top Comment, where it comprises of 3 levels, G by Ghostface, A by Asda VB, and Y by Rockthroll. And if you didn't like the Space Gauntlet, you can just play the 1.9 version of it. It's pretty cute that this list got made and the levels featured in it are pretty fun. Outside of that, here are most of the lists that act like gauntlets while we're at it. It's not too much of a surprise, but it is pretty cool that we're seeing a lot of these. Moving on to some of the miscellaneous lists before we get into... I wanted to briefly touch upon a few, such as all the GD Awards lists for 2024. Honestly, it's pretty cool that they grouped all the nominees levels into lists so that you can easily find and play them. There are so many of them that they take up one page of the featured list tab.
XXXPSXLLCXNSXNXNXNTS.
By Woohoo Islander is pretty funny. You get to see all the rated levels that put a massive finger to vowels, and when you notice all the level names are missing vowels, you can figure out what the title of the list is. Pretty clever. The Beehive by Iran B has 3 levels in it. B by Motley York, B by Kate Darko, and the one by Bridget the Croco called B. June 11, 2023 by Alex1304 is a very unique list. It puts together all the levels that were released on June 11, 2023. And if you thought there was any reason in choosing this date, no. And finally, My Anime List by GD Vesius, which makes you realize that anime infiltrates nearly every single online community, from the profile pictures to even the levels. I've watched a couple of animes, and so far, Death Note by Nox seems the most accurate to the source material. Honestly, this is a dope list that Vesius compiled together. It's neat being able to play levels that were inspired by the animes these creators watched, and some of these levels are definitely iconic. Wait, uncensored? Well, there goes GD's age rating. And now, it's finally time for all the lists you've been waiting for.
You're telling me I have to talk about this?
The list feature has not only been good for creating fan-made progression and rediscovering old levels, but it has been really good for just adding more humor. To do these lists justice, it might be a better idea to do live commentary so we can enjoy these together. So, here's me reacting to them. Alright, hey everyone, this is pretty much the live commentary of me just looking through lists. I've compiled about like 30 to 40 of them, as you can see on the top right. If this commentary is quite scuffed, it probably is because this is probably like my first time doing something like this. And let's let's just start pretty small with the first one, proving my Astral Color Z. The more I read this, it's... Okay, yeah, the more I read this, the more I just feel disgusted about how he still kept finding all these levels that are just named Blob. Oh shit. And then Poopy Socks. One day I needed a toilet, but I didn't feel like being a normal person. So I found some socks and I pooped in them. The end. What the fuck? And of course, we can't forget about BMW in Traffic Be Like. But he also made other lists as well, and actually, the average Audi owner came first. I wonder how some people named like these levels. Like, who actually just names their levels just writing? And I don't actually drive all that much. Knowing pretty much just Sydney drivers, this is quite relatable. And finally, the Ford F-150 experience. I have no idea what car that is. And America is awesome. By law? What the Wait, this is an actual account? And slide out of the house because, not gonna lie, my wife and kids and taxes made me angry. Let me tell you something, I love America. Yeehaw, I am speed. Wait. There's Out of Sight. There's actually nothing particularly like too crazy about this. I just found this list and I put it in here because the description of this list is really funny. And Watch Series. At first, it doesn't seem like there's really anything really noteworthy or crazy about this. But the moment you start booting up a level and playing it, it's so nauseating. I'm gonna try to see how far I can... Okay, never mind. Let's try this. I wonder how bad it is.
Geometry dash.
Oh, the slows. This is so nauseating. What the fuck? How am I still alive? Oh my god. The next one on the list is I Like Snails by Error405. Hold on, what on earth is that slow thing over there? Maybe snail, I don't know. Nice level name. Anyway, I have improved creation and... Wait, what? It is gone. Where are you? I love you. How to get a rated level. Okay, so first design a simple level, then copy and paste everything 14,000 times. Next, name the level something distinct, like... Gigs! Okay, genuinely, how did this get rated, and how did that name make it in? Next, show the level to the mods and tell them this level is the Mona Lisa of Geometry Dash, and they will send it for you. Presto, you now have obtained juicy creator points. There's also a sequel to, well, rather an unofficial sequel to the BMW in Traffic. It's more of the same. Atomic Cannon Mark II. That one Daft Punk by Mr. Mystic. Around the... Okay, Cats Be Like. I remember seeing this earlier, but then I mostly forgot everything. So... Oh, wolf, I meant meow. Colon 3. In the list of my Wi-Fi's passwords, I'm pretty proud of our collective ability to just roll over our hands on the keyboard and just come up with all this. POV, you go to the factory. Today's the day I will go to the factory. True. I've been looking up lists to just save them, and I found a lot of POV levels, such as this one, by the same person who made the Gordon Ramsay list. And so far, each level of this is pretty relatable. I hate this game, relatable. Studio Done level, relatable. POV, I talk to my demon by lagging. Hello demon. Hey. POV, you entered daily chat. I ate wet kite cat? What does that mean? What the fuck? Secret way. I wanna rob the top. Kill the child? POV, you stub your toe. Oh my god. Robert Topola Demon by It's Cut. I was about to butcher that really badly. RobTop never clear. RobTop look at this. RobTop burger. RobTop. I'm surprised Hey RobTop rate this by Dansman wasn't in here. Oh yes, Microwave Be Like. This is probably one of my favorite lists. Beep, beep. Girl Power by Evelyn, or who used to be called Eliana, I think. And these levels are like really cool. All these levels are made by just female Geometry Dash creators, and it's really nice actually having all these levels just documented and put into a list. It's really cute. Okay, there's this list that's just called Big Man Awesome 72 with an omitted E, and the name of the account is just Big Man Awesome 72. And when you go into the list, it's literally just called Big Man Awesome 72. And then there's Gunacore, White Women, of course. Oh my god. A YouTube video by Disco Vevis. So, there's like a weird glitch with lists where some of these levels just straight up don't exist. Either they've been deleted or just removed by the creator. But in this case, where it doesn't seem like it's that unfortunate, it just makes it pretty funny. Because the first level is just called High. And if you just keep scrolling down, it's all like removed levels until you go to the very bottom, it's just Bloodbath. I think this happened with Walter White's Confession, if I just search it up. Yeah, it's only like this. It's only just 8. And just, that's kind of it. And now we're back to the very last 2 lists that I'll be covering, because we already covered through a lot, and I feel like this video will be going for way longer than it already is. So, with GD comments, honestly, fair enough. Hacker Machine, Mythic, Mods Finest House, and finally, very finally, probably the worst list by Sync. And yeah, it probably is. I'm not sorry. Yeah. Well, that's all the funny lists that I've pretty much covered. So now we're gonna go back into non-live commentary me. So take it away, non-live commentary Puueds. There's not much to say about lists without really repeating myself. They don't really get talked about that much outside of bringing up a funny list you stumbled upon. And despite existing right there on the menu, at least from personal experience, I go to the feature tab about 99 times out of 100. And when you do bring up lists in Geometry Dash into the conversation, I assume most of us would think about these. It just kinda makes sense. So honestly, how come? Well, maybe because we're all used to lists being made on an external platform that make it convenient to then search up levels in Geometry Dash. Lists are pretty bare bones when you look at it feature-wise. As it stands, it's a more convenient way of finding classic or funny levels, but not much else. It's kind of a shame since there's a ton of opportunity to experiment with the feature. Like say a shovel feature where you get a random level and you have to beat it, and then move on to the next. Just any new ways to play Geometry Dash. If you wanted to think about it quantitatively, they don't really have much of an impact on the game, but at the very least, they are a good quality of life feature. Creating a progression of levels, whether in a series or gauntlet or just themed, has never been easier. Let's not forget the level absurdity that was added thanks to these lists. 2.2 is the update that changed so many things, and community humor was one of them. Where else could you find a playlist that was able to accurately describe the sounds of a microwave and it being rated by the developer? Genuinely, there were great times made with these lists, but seeing how little it gets talked about, there should definitely be more to this feature beyond being pretty funny. They look and act almost identically to map packs. I really hope RobTop does flesh out lists into something more substantial.
Okay, I think my mom just gave me an actual laundry list of things to do. It's still in the format of a Geometry Dash list, so we'll just work with it. She wrote down to washing machine the dishes too. Guys, what do I do with a task called the?